I want to know, when do you start sort of mainstreaming this passion?
I think the part that mainstreamed for me was Ayeye.
Yeah.
I came on as a junior writer on Ayeye at Bomb Productions, and they completely took a chance on me. I wrote a test script. They liked it. I came in. I was just like, "What? You guys made Yeezo, Yeezo. You guys are the guys."
What
you
an
know?
opportunity.
That was like opportunity, and that's kind of when I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm here now."
Yeah.
And like, I can't mess this one up. You know.
So let's talk AA. Because, you know, I know Kutlwano and I know some of the guys at Bomb. It's so interesting how that came and went. Ayeye, for me, was a sign or a glimpse of what future storytelling would be. Tell me about the inception. Obviously, you're on now. Bomb says, cool, let's go. What are some of the things that shift for you? And then, why doesn't it last? Where's the season 2s and the 3s?
For me, is that like, it was a chance to see ourselves reflected back on TV. So that was like mind-blowing to me.
It was
right?
amazing.
I mean, the research process for that show alone was so fun, because it was going to all the different coffee shops, drinking, hanging out with advertising guys, and picking their
So that
brains.
really happens?
Yeah.
Like people watching?
Yeah, so it was definite people watching, and I think that's why it felt so authentic and so real, because it was based on, loosely based, let me not say completely, on real people. The stories were real. We did a lot of research. We interviewed a lot of people. We also came from that lifestyle and from that life, you know, being in a creative environment. And so I think why that show did what it did is that it was so authentic, and people that are, and it represented the people in it so well, you know. As to why there's not a second season.
Well, before you answer that, I really want to sort of figure out. So you guys are drinking coffees. You're looking at, you know, these people reflecting back on scripts and all this stuff. Are you excited to tell the story? Is this something that you want to tell? Is this something that you think will change, or are you aware of what it's going to do, or is it just like an opportunity for you to work at Bomb?
So I didn't know it was going to do what it did.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it would be really fun and exciting, but I thought me and my contemporaries would watch this show and be like, oh, look at that. We hang out at Lennon's all the time, you know? I didn't think that still to this day, that the first thing I say is that I was part of the development and writing of Ayeye, and people are like, damn, are you for real?
Oh, it's like,
I was like, guys, I've done so much
stuff. It's like
stuff.
the street journal of, of like dramas. It's really, it was really something that we, as the youth and as people who sort of live those lives, really enjoyed, because we got to see characters that look like us.
Yes.
So I think my question though is, are you aware of, firstly, yourself in that? And I think you've answered a bit of that. But what I mean by that is this your writing style? Is this what you want to do? Or is there something else that Sunny wants to sort of venture into? So is this just a job? Or
no, it's never just a job.
Yeah.
Writing requires too much of yourself for it to ever just be a job.
Sure.
You know, which is why, like, if you meet like really old writers and they've become like desensitized and all of that, it's so sad and heartbreaking.
I've seen those.
And you seem like you're just here because you're excited and you've got these story ideas and everything. But Ayeye is definitely up my alley in terms of the kind of stories I want to tell, in terms of the kind of stories I want to watch. But it's not all. You know, Ayeye was a male-driven cast, and the female characters were not really strong female characters, you know, and it was kind of on purpose that it was written that way. It's a very specific type of show. But for me is that I want to then tell those female stories and tell those stories of what contemporary South Africa looks like.
Well, it was brilliant. So
Thank
why
you.
no season 2? From your perspective, 5 years ago, junior writer, why no season 2? What are the rumors in the corridors? You know, you're never really in the meetings when you're a junior, but what did you hear in the corridors? Why is there no season 2? What happened? Did it not make the numbers? Did people not respond?
I don't know. You know, at the time it was on Vuzu, which was a select channel. It wasn't the main mass channel. But it was a lot of reasons, you know. It was a budget thing. Like, it was a very expensive show to make, right? The locations cost a lot. Like, that lifestyle costs a lot. Anyone in Joburg who's in their 20s, 30s will tell you that that lifestyle costs a lot. Recreating it costs even more.
That's true. So many reasons.
Yeah,
Is
many
it coming
reasons.
back? I've seen Kutlana hang out with the cast so many times, and I've seen you in those videos. So what's happening?
That guy's always getting me in trouble.
So what's happening?
I don't know if it's coming back.
Is that just like an answer that you're
That
sticking
is my
with?
final answer. I don't
Would
know.
you like it to come back?
I'd love for it to come back.
Would you be involved?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's coming back, right?
I don't know, legend.
Okay, so after that, I mean, I'm sure at the drop of a hat, people are like, who's Sunni Faba? You get into, I think it's Isibaya?
Yeah,
Talk to me about Isibaya, writing for that. I mean, these are totally two different worlds.
completely.
So, you know, a friend of mine or an ex-friend of mine used to say that writers, as you just said as well, actually, writers write what they know. Isibaya, Ayeye, where are you when it comes to that? Is it research or is it you?
So it's a little bit of both, but what I always find is that I got so tired of people like wanting me then to only write young Black female stories, as if I don't like absorb a lot of things, as if I don't read, as if I don't know. So I believe in story and I believe in telling stories well, and I believe in character development, and that's something you can learn.
Yeah.
So I can write an Isibaya as well as an Ayeye because I completely submerge myself in that world. And I take interest in that world. And at the end of the day, it's a story. I mean, Isibaya is a story about a family, right? Fighting another family, and there's a Romeo and Juliet story inside there. Ayeye had those elements too.
Yeah.
There's no new stories. There's like 7 in the whole world. And we just find interesting and new ways to tell those stories.
So how do you sort of then maneuver yourself rightfully with the right amount of spunk, with the right amount of want that then allows you to sort of execute?
I mean, it was the biggest show. I mean, it still is, right?
Still is,
like biggest show ever. And I was like, this is so huge. Like this is huge now, you know? And it was intimidating. It was definitely intimidating. A lot of times writing rooms change over time. You know, people come, people go. And a lot of times I was like the youngest person there. And so I had like a strategy. So I just believe in being deliberate. Like everything I do is completely deliberate. So I had a strategy and I was just like, I'm going to become the best note taker in this room. Like they are not going to be able to have a meeting without me there because I'm going to record this the best way possible, you know? And so that's what I did to make myself indispensable. I don't have the years behind me to write the story, but I have the skills that I do have, you know? And so you just make yourself indispensable. And you also I now have to go back and listen to stories from my parents, you know, cultural stories. And every time we go back home to the Eastern Cape, all of that.
You're more attentive.
Yes, definitely.
And are you valuable within those rooms, do you feel? Because I think when we start talking, you know, about these meetings and our stories versus who's telling them, are you a valuable piece of the puzzle? Or do you find yourself sidelined at an early age in your career?
In the beginning, definitely sidelined.
And that's okay, right?
And that's okay. But what I do now in my writing rooms, because that took a lot of strong sense of self to be able to overcome that. Because if you're sidelined too much and your voice is muted too much, you start not believing in your own voice. So I have a kind of rule in all my writing rooms now, and I'm like, no disclaimers. Like from the moment don't give me a disclaimer. Don't say, I know this idea might be shitty. I'll tell you if it's shitty. Don't worry.
Epic.
Right? Like say it. And the more encouraged you are to speak, the better you get at speaking, the better your points are, the quicker you can think things through, you know, because you've been encouraged to do it. But if you tell people that they must sit quietly in the corner, then they don't get better.
Did you experience that though? In your formative years?
Yeah, definitely. In the beginning, you know, as a young writer. And also, I couldn't see story the way the older writers could see it. You know, they could see it from beginning to end. So you'd be like, what if she does this? No, it'll never work. What if she, you know? And then you also pick up different people's energies in the room and all of that. And some are really encouraging. Some are just like, that's a really good idea, but let me tell you why it's not going to work. Because once you get to the midpoint, this about character, you know, some people just shut you down. So it's a matter of taking what you can from the people, you know.
So how do you rise above that? Who do you who's your best bet in that boardroom? Like is it the head writer? Is it a showrunner? Who's your best guy to go to in order for you to sort of latch yourself or attach yourself to, that kind of shield, I guess. What did you do to sort of rise above that? I'm sure it's obviously personality as well.
Yeah.
But what do you do? Because that, I've seen a lot of people enter writing rooms and never come back.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people change their careers because it's cutthroat. It's actually cutthroat. If you're gonna say something, it's gotta move us forward. You know, so how did you get over that?
I think just like believe in what you're saying. I also don't believe in just like speaking for speaking's sake.
Okay.
So if you have a point, then defend it and be able to debate it.
Yeah.
Because you will get chewed up, right? And so if I actually believe in something, you're going to listen to me and I'm going to make you listen to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I need to be strong and determined in how I'm doing that. But I think your best bet in a writing room is kind of find the person who's the most generous. There's always one. There's always one who's there for teaching and doing the job, you know? There's some that are there to do the job. But there's always one person who's a little bit more generous, a little bit softer. Who,
identify that
yes,
person.
identify that person and identify them within the first 3 hours because they'll show themselves in the first 3 hours, you know? And then get that person on your side.
So Isibaya was a job well done, would you say?
Definitely. I absolutely grew tremendously.
Bomb was that as well for you?
Yeah, yeah.
What is it about Bomb that gets themselves going so much? I mean, they're quite successful at what they do and consistent. What is it about them?
I have no idea what it is because I meet so many creators and we've all been through the bomb doors, gone back, you know.
Yeah.
I think a big strength of theirs lies in research, which is what I learned a lot there, is that you have to have research and know exactly what story you're telling and how you're telling it. You've got to believe in the story and actually be passionate about it. And you've got to get a really strong team.